G'day, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got this 2021 Husqvarna TX300i, and today we're going to be putting some two-stroke performance bits and pieces in there. I've got a top end kit which we're replacing the piston kit. She's done 130 hours, so we're going to do oil pump, and I'll show you how to replace that and bleed the system. There's a procedure there on that one. So with this two-stroke performance kits, we've got a ECU flash. It's got two different maps in the ECU, a different cylinder head, so we're putting on a billet multiple compression ratio cylinder head, so we've gone for the medium compression ratio in this one. Yeah, so we'll get stuck into it. We'll take the tank and seat and everything off there, then I'll take it outside and give it a bit of a wash, just so we don't drop any crud down in the crankcase when we pull the top end off. Righto, so let's get stuck into it. Took the power valve cover off on this side. Same deal with KTM's, Husqvarna's, whatever. There's this little, sorry, I didn't know where the camera was pointing there for a second. There's a little wire. You'll see the top of it just poking out on the other side of this ball here. What it does is it goes through and wraps around, and that's the locking pin to hold this power valve rod on. So we just flip it around like that, and it just basically just falls out. But then when you put it back in, you've got to put it in through that pinhole there and then clip it back around again. So that should come off like so, and you can get this bottom nut off there to get the barrel off. So I've got the head off. Can't really see much in there. I need to get a torch, but we'll get the barrel off and put it on the bench and have a closer look. Righto, barrel's off. Like it's in good shape. We'll just give this, we'll take the injectors and stuff out, give it a clean up and a hone. Ready for the new piston. There's the old cylinder head, quite a bit of carbon build up in there. But she was well and truly due. It's got some real funky marks on this piston, but it's done 130 hours. So it's not too bad for a two-stroke 300. I think, you know, 130 hours is pretty good. I put one of the old rings in the cylinder. It's still got good ring gap, but piston just on the side skirts and stuff's just got some really bad marks on it, I would say, just wear marks. So well and truly due. But anyway, we've got some nice little bits and pieces to put in. We've got this billet head, new piston, gaskets and things, and piston clips. Well, got these like E-clip to put in rather than just the single wires, because I don't know, once you've done these KTM piston, these wires are extremely hard to put in unless you've got the proper tool. It's like trying to put in a piece of fencing wire, but these ones should be quite nice to fit. That's the insert, the medium compression insert. You can see it's got 12.7 M, so apparently every one of these is marked. So all you need to do is, if you want to up the compression ratio or lower the compression ratio, you just buy another insert. I think they're $160, something like that, for an insert, if you want to change that. So yeah, new plug. Recommends a BP, protruding one, and the throttle body modification that we have to do as well, idle screw. So we'll get into this, pull this apart, give it a hone and put it back together again. So I don't have a manual for this thing, so I'm just going to wing it, but I've done enough of these that I pretty much will know how they go. So I can't see any timing marks on that. I can't see any timing marks on that one, but basically they're in the middle. So I'm just going to undo that and that, and then the arms should come off, and then the front should just come off. So like to keep my stuff in order. So solder that down because the spring's going to go twanging. There it goes. Keep that. Keep that. Now, the front, I've already undone the bolts, of course. Should come off. Like so. Of course, it's all glued on, so we'll have to reseal that. And I think we'll have to take those out just to get the power valve out. And yeah, we'll give it a clean up. Have a look at it. Crusty. But that's why we're here. So I've got this all cleaned up. It's all back in there. Now, some new O-rings on there. Some sealant on there. Don't need to go crazy with the silicone. It's just to seal it off. just a nice thin bead. I like to use this Loctite grey. Seems to be very good. Or 3-bond grey, whichever. So we'll just put that back on there. Now that's the bottom one, that's the top one. Just got to take note of where these spring hangers go, as otherwise you'd be taking them back off and putting them back in the right spot. So, just firm. All that's going to need to be. See, there's a bit of excess in there. Just wipe that out. We'll put all these back together. I had to take these out because this is your side. This is the power valve on the side. So took them out, give them a clean up. Righto, we'll slip the rest of it together. Okay, got all this back together. Went together quite nice. It's nice and smooth. Seeing that in there. You feeling that? I know I am. That's good. Nice and smooth. Yeah. Piston. We've got an arrow on the top. Always faces forward. I always like to put one clip in on the bench. Look at these new little clips. See how this goes. Oh, look at that. That was easy. Not like the old fencing wire clips. Struggle. Anyway. Rings. There's a little letter. Always faces the top. Always in the instructions there it didn't really say which one goes on top and bottom, but sometimes there is a top and bottom. So I like to just slip them in the groove. Sometimes you'll get one that's thinner than the other. And then if you don't have it in the right spot, of course you're trying to twist it on, it's not going to fit in the groove. So that fits in both grooves. I've tested the other one and it's the same, so I'm assuming they're the same. Just twist it on. Just like so. See, there's a, I don't know whether you can see it, there's a letter on the top, face the top, twist it around, there you go. There's the lining pins. So that's good to go. It's my new small end bearing there. Just got that sitting in a bit of oil. Put a little bit of oil on that. A little bit of the old Castrol TDS. A lot of you younger people might not remember the old TDS, but a lot of the older people will. Good oil. So, just push that back out. Right, we'll go and assemble this. Right, we're back to this again with the base gasket thicknesses. This bike came with a selection of gaskets. Now in the two-stroke performance instructions there, he recommends a 0.6 gasket with a 0 deck height. So that's piston at the top of the cylinder has to be 0. So we've got the 0.6 on there now. We'll slip the barrel on and tighten it down, and then we'll measure it. Right, got the barrel on, got the piston up on top dead center. Now the piston is not protruding and it is not below, and I can't get a feeler gauge underneath that rule. So we're at 0. So the next thing we're going to do is this throttle body modification, which we've got to get the old idle screw out and fit this new one. It's here. Should have already had it out. That goes in there. Now we have to warm this up with the blue tongue without trying to melt the throttle body. So we'll give it a go. Said to warm it from the underneath, because you don't want to melt this plastic. So we'll see what happens. It's just got to melt the Loctite, because the Loctite's holding this screw, which it's already starting to soften up. Yep. There you go. Oh, that was that easy. But you really need to warm it up. Oh man, yep, that's hot. Don't touch the Allen key. It's hot. Right, there we go. We're going to change the oil pump now, so I recommend every 80 hours to change that. So I've already taken this pipe off the throttle body. There's another bolt that holds it up there, it's only just hanging in, and I've loosened it off, and I've just about got it pulled out of the oil tank there, and I've unplugged it on the other side, of course. So here's a new one. KDM and Husqvarna, same part number. So I ordered this one from my local KDM dealership. It looks like it comes pre-primed, but there's a procedure on priming the oil pump, so we'll do it when we plug this one in. So I'll unplug that one and plug this one in. Apparently it's a little bit messy, because as soon as you unplug the oil pump, the oil starts running out of the tank. But you do it quick enough, should be pretty right. Now that we've got the new oil pump installed, you'll see there's the clear line there. the oil line. So I'm going to try and set you up around about there somewhere so you can see the red two-stroke oil come through. So as a process in doing this, there's a plug here that's located underneath the ECU. So we'll unplug that, use this wake up plug it's called, and we'll plug that in whilst holding the throttle wide open. And apparently it takes 5 seconds of wide open throttle, and it should bleed the oil pump line. So I'll set you up so you can hopefully see that line and it'll turn red. And there it goes. You can even hear it ticking away. And that's it. You see the oil line there, she's red. Everything's on, the cylinder head, cylinder back on, oil pump done, primed. We'll just, a couple of other things I have to address, so we'll do the air filter, front sprocket shaft seals leaking, so I'll replace that, do the gearbox oil, and she's just about due for change sprockets too, so may have to do that as well. Anyway, we'll get into doing this seal and air filter and gearbox oil, and then we can kick it in the guts. Here's a little trick I do. O-ring chains, always a bit of a bugger to get these clips on. Put your new joiner in, new O-rings, bit of grease, sit your plate on. I just use a 6mm nut, as that fits over the pins. Just use a pair of vice grips. Get it in about the right spot. Just clamp it. Same with the other one. Squishes it in. Scoop up a bit. Just enough so you can see the groove to put the clip on. Then put your clip on. Always make sure you put the clip rounded side to the front, which is the way that the wheel's going to spin. So the rounded part of the clip is going towards the front of the bike. Put it the other way and it's potential for something to knock the clip off. So put it backwards like that. And I'll just get well, let's try that again. Pressure on it, and that's it. It's on. Just a little trick. And another thing, while you've got the back wheel out, I pulled the adjusting pins out and gave them a never seize and screw them back into the swing arm. I know how many times I've seen pins, the adjusting bolts there that are just seized. So it always pays to take them out, bit of grease, bit of never seize, and screw them back in again. Sometimes you can even bang a spanner in there to hold some pressure against it. Always make sure your adjusting increments there are exactly the same on both sides, so the chain runs true. You don't want it adjusted one side more than the other, it can cause a chain to come off. We'll just roughly do it up there. It's got a bit of slack. I'll readjust it when I get the bike down on the ground to the correct tension. A little bit of grease on the lip. It's just a bit of extra reassurance. It'll just give it a positive seal. Hopefully nothing will get in there. Always make sure your air filter is in properly. If you're unsure, just pop it out and just make sure that locates in there. I can feel it. Look at that. Beautiful. Well, she's all done, all back together. This is the moment of truth. We'll kick it in guts and see if she fires up. Well, there you go. It's a bit smoky. I opened the door this time, didn't want to get smoked out. But yeah, we'll have to take it for a little ride and give it a little bit of a tune, I suppose. Since we've got this new idle screw in there with the throttle body modification that we did. So now we can play with the air bleed and adjust the idle to suit, just depending on the riding conditions. May even leave that for the owner. But yeah, we'll take it for a little ride just to make sure that it's right. And yeah, it should be good. Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Keep the rubber side down. Cheers.